You want to see something cool?
Well, here we go again. From crashes to the history of crashes to so much more. Without a doubt, the biggest issue of Cookie Run Kingdom. Let's talk about where this began. Didn't they make a post regarding the issues on the iOS devices saying that they were going to do it and work on performance and client optimization? Yes they did. And even on the June 4th update notice, if you go all the way down, and I mean at the very bottom, you can see on the bug fixes, system optimization has been performed to improve connection stability and prevent the game from crashing during gameplay. And also other stuff to be able to, well, be less likely to crash. Like allowing lower active cookie count and other stuff. So it must mean it's fixed now, right? No. Cause this little poll right here saying if the crash still exists and 83% saying yes was after the Scoop update. So clearly the issue still exists. Especially if you just take a look at my comment section there. So the issue still exists, we got that clear. But where did it start? So when did this issue start? You may think the croissant cookie update or even the timekeeper update, but if you think that's the case, not even close. Cause if you check the Kingdom feedback channel on the official Cookie Run Kingdom Discord, the very first suggestion, if we scroll down here a little bit on July 13, 2023, first feedback, optimize the game. So not only is it old enough to be from over 3 years ago, but relevant enough to be the very first feedback ever given in that channel pretty much instantly. And I thought I was not going to find anything else of an older date. Well, what if I told you I found something even older, 2 years older in fact, just by scrolling down a bit on this little feedback itself. Cause this feedback, the image it contains, scenes from suggestions or feedback from 2021, January 21st. Now that could be a very old date and older than what you have played Cookie Run Kingdom for, probably guaranteed. And not only that, because that day is actually a very specific day. That is the same day Cookie Run Kingdom released globally. Meaning it's been having complaints about the game crashes since day one. This can't even be treated as a joke anymore. No wonder there's been over 12,000 mentions about the game's optimization. There is so much. Over 400 pages. There's only 400 pages because Discord doesn't let me load more. But of people talking about the game's optimization over and over and over and over and over. For years on end. Making this issue much deeper than I thought it would ever be. But these crashes seem to be more of a niche issue. But still a big issue. Well, until Croissant came around. The Croissant cookie update came out, and 30% of my audience can't play due to crash errors. And the people are having issues. Me just searching up CRK Crashes already gets me 1 short of crashes, 2, 3, one of my shorts, I don't know why. All these crashes, all the top ones are talking about the game's crashing. And so old, I can find videos made 4 years ago. This was made before I started playing Cookie Run Kingdom. Going to show that this issues existed before you even started playing Cookie Run Kingdom, which is just insane. And it's just getting worse every update. The Croissant cookie update was just what broke the camel's back, which forced them to make the response they did. Since so many people started having issues right after the update, which led me to make that forum in the first place, which is what we're going to talk about next. First, let's talk about some facts with this forum. The reason iOS was addressed and not Android is because the majority of people having issues were Apple and iOS devices by a large margin. especially if we look to describe what device we have. Because if we just go here and I do Control F and look at the iPhone query, 52 different queries of a ton of different people just mentioning the device that they use iPhones, or basically that, showing that a grand majority of it started off this, which is just insane. And over 50% of the people who filled the form were not even able to last more than 5 to 10 minutes on the form, whether that was crashing instantly on the logging in screen or 5 to 10 minutes in the gameplay, which is just ridiculous. I couldn't even make videos if that were happening to me. You wouldn't be able to see what you're watching right now. And there's so many full responses or talking about the crashes, but here are a few that actually did catch my eye. It would take me an hour to talk about every single one. The first ones are the ones that said they crashed only when they grabbed something from the shop, and that was familiar to me, because one look of literally the shop and I can find a ton of different comments mentioning this issue, which is really weird. I myself have tested grabbing these manually, automatic sort of Kingdom Affairs in every single way possible, and I have yet to see a person show a video of these, and I'm kind of confused on that. But it seems to be pretty common occurrence. Another one is just this one in particular that made me very sad just reading it, to be honest. Because finding your game to crash after a certain amount of time to be standard is absolutely ridiculous and should not be considered at that way in any way, shape, or form. That's insane. It should always be considered something that we want to fix and wait. Okay, that actually was I've actually recorded this live while I'm saying this, but that is actually ridiculous. It is something that should be fixed in towards the future, because what do you mean this issue's been existing since 2021? It needs to be something that needs to be addressed, not something that we can get used to. It isn't something that we can just all of us task us to get better devices. It's something ridiculous. People shouldn't be used to just being crashing every once in a while. Especially when it is being said that it's getting worse every single update, and even more issues are rising. Yes, they did do some stuff, but we need to up the pace of how much is being fixed. Or else this issue will never be fixed, and it's just gonna keep going and going and going endlessly on newer and newer devices, which just isn't sustainable in the long run. And then there's a ton of comments of people letting know how often they crash in the game or exactly how. And that's gonna lead to what I'm going to do next. Since my form was made during the croissant cookie update, I wanted to ask some of these people how their crashes are now. Specifically, the ones that have been crashing more. After asking a few people about their crashing issues on Discord, I actually learned a few new interesting things of the crashes in this current update. Every iOS user I asked actually said that they had better performance or increased performance overall. But when I asked a non-iOS, they told me it was much worse. So much that they actually sent me a crash of theirs, and you just need to see this. Just watch how long this takes. So the loading times have issues now, which can be a whole new issue in and of itself, which I will probably leave that for another time. But oh my goodness, because if not only the crashing, the fact that you have to log in for, say, 3 minutes for a crash that could potentially take 5 minutes, you're taking equivalent amount of time to load into the game into a straight up crash, when the crashes shouldn't even be considered standard. I find that insanely ridiculous. But this also doesn't just mean iOS is perfectly fine and the others are not. Because there's still people to this day complaining about the iOS issues, saying that they're still crashing. This is despite all the changes they did it to improve game optimization or loading. And the thing is, people are oblivious to how long this issue's been for. And I'm gonna prove it right now. So we know here that the issue's been going since 2021, or pretty much on its release day. But I don't think the public knows. So I'm gonna ask them before my video comes out. And I've set it as a quiz so people can't change their answers. 21 hours later, and right now only 27% said that amount. Most people thinking it is from 2025 to 2026. Which the answers don't surprise me. What surprised me were some of the comments. I noticed some people still aren't even aware of the issue, which surprised me despite all the polls or stuff that I made related to it. But it explains more in the first place why this video needs to happen. There needs to be more awareness spread about this thing, since a lot of people aren't aware of this massive issue being around. Because it's only noticed when it starts to affect them. So if you're one of the people who did not know about the issue, well, I guess this explains to you how big of an issue this is, and the fact that it can affect you as a player as this expands if we don't put attention to it. But what if you're one of the people being affected by it? Well, this is what we can do for now. So, how do we exactly fix this issue? The first thing would be to have Dev Sisters know, work on it constantly, and keep bringing attention to the issue. But for the time being, here's the simplest explainer on how to reduce lag. Starting with the obvious ones, first lower the frame rate, then lower the resolution, lowering the active cookie count to as low as you possibly can, turning off skill effects, skill video, and healing numbers. This actually does a lot more than you think it does. An easy one's just turn off vibration and battle dialogue, and then the strongest of them all, turning off battle effects. This thing is a game changer. Here's a battle with effects on. You can all see all the abilities, all the stuff that can cause easily a crash. And here it is when it's off. Just simple. The simplest form of the battle to prevent the most amount of lag as possible, looking super simple, just no changes at all, just as simplified as possible, which is a huge change along with the other stuff. Another way is turning off global messages, because honestly, those just spam ever living heck out of you constantly, and let's be honest,
we do not care.
And if that's still failing, another thing you could do is turn on simple wish animation, simple balloon animation, and simple train animation. These will make your animations not exist. They will just appear in a much simpler way to make sure to prevent lag with it. And if all else fails, at your own risk, feel free to reinstall Cookie Run Kingdom. But that can be pretty risky to do, as it isn't consistent. Some people have had better, or some people have worse experiences after re-download. But you should give it a try if nothing else works. And those are all the fixes I can suggest. If this helped you, or if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, because this took me almost an entire week to work on. From the form, to all the editing, to just straight up getting the information for this. So it would mean a lot if you subscribe. So yeah.